Second section of the Aeroplane in War by Claude, Grahame-White, and Harper. This Librivox recording is in the public domain. First experiments with aeroplanes in the French autumn maneuvers, 1910. 1. The historic Picardy tests. First official report upon movements of troops as gleaned by Aeroplane. After these introductory notes, intentionally brief, we are led to a consideration of the first practical tests to which aeroplanes were put, so far as their military use is concerned. During the summer of 1910, the French authorities were instructing officers in the handling of machines. They had purchased several Voisin, Wright, and Farman biplanes, and possessed also a few monoplanes, including Blériots and Antoinettes. For the autumn army maneuvers of 1910, which were due to take place in Picardy, it was decided to make as complete a test as possible of the value of the aeroplane as a scout in time of war. 10 or 15 machines were requisitioned for the experiments, some being stationed with each of the maneuvering forces. To augment the military pilots, several civilian airmen readily gave their services, notably Mr. Hubert Latham, with his Antoinette, and Monsieur Louis Paulhan, flying a Farman. Although this was the first time aeroplanes had been used in mimic warfare, and although the airmen themselves and the military authorities were naturally unacquainted with the best methods of utilizing the new arm, astonishing results were nevertheless obtained. 2 French officers, Lieutenant Sido and Adjutant Menard, were highly successful in their work. This was due to the fact that they had gone through a careful course of training and were in consequence familiar with the task of compiling precise and informing reports of all that they saw when upon a reconnoitering flight. Lieutenant Sido acted as observer upon the Farman biplane which they were using, and Adjutant Menard undertook the work of pilot. The former carried maps with him and made frequent notes as the machine flew from point to point. The value of the work these 2 officers were able to perform is best indicated by setting forth the actual result of 2 of their reconnoitering flights. On the first occasion, acting under definite instructions, they left a place named Poix at 6 a.m. and flew over a 60-kilometer course, being an hour and 5 minutes in the air before returning to their starting point. This is the form in which they presented their report to headquarters. 6:05 a.m. At Tilleloy, 3 squadrons of chasseurs à cheval, hidden behind the southern edge of the village on the road from Tilleloy to Saint-Mars. 6:30 a.m. At Feuquières, a brigade of infantry on the march eastward on the road from Feuquières to Brombault. Head of main body just leaving Feuquières. 6 batteries of artillery parked south of Feuquières. 6:32 a.m. At point 1800 meters north of Feuquières, 2 companies on outpost, one facing north and the other northeast, astride the Feuquières-Sarcou road. 1 company has dug rifle pits to the west, and the other company section trenches to the east of the road. A Blériot monoplane has just landed behind the company west of the road. We followed its flight for 3 minutes. 6:40 a.m. Agner, a company in column of route marching from Agner towards Méracourt along the Saint-Martin-de-Poncy ravine. The completeness and detail of this statement certainly surprised the officers who received it. No one save a well-trained military observer could have presented such a report. Its value was self-evident. It revealed, indeed, in a manner that was undeniable, the extremely useful work which could be done in time of war by a well-handled scouting aeroplane. 2. Second conclusive test, detecting an army in retreat, France's determination to possess an air fleet. On another early morning flight during these same Picardy maneuvers, Lieutenant Sido and Adjutant Menard made a second important aerial reconnaissance surveying a specified tract of country occupied by the enemy. This was how they presented their report. 5:56 a.m. at Hellois, a cyclist company. 5:59 a.m. Thieulois, 16 squadrons of cavalry, and 6 batteries at the southwest entrance to the village. 6:05 a.m. southwest of Rothrois, at the north point of Malmaison Wood, a company and 2 batteries of artillery on the march towards Marseille-le-Petit. 6:07 a.m. Haute-Épine, northern entrance to the village, 1 company of infantry to the right and 1 to the left of the road, 1 company at point 188, 1 company in the village of Haute-Épine. 6:09 a.m. at the crossroad to Lihou, a squadron of dragoons concealed behind the edge of the wood. 6:14 a.m. on the road Siévecourt-Marseille, south of Lihou, a squadron on the march towards Marseille-le-Petit, and a troop in the village of Lihou. 6:16 a.m. on the Lihou-Potengis road, a squadron and 2 machine guns marching towards Marseille-le-Petit. 6:19 a.m. southwest entrance to Sèvres-Coeur, 3 regiments of cavalry, including cuirassiers, and 6 batteries of artillery in assembly formation. The value of these 2 reports, declared one of the chief French military experts, cannot be overestimated. Each one exposed the dispositions of the enemy, and the information was obtained in a remarkably short space of time. As regards the second report of the 2 air scouts, it provided one remarkable instance of the practical value of the aeroplane in time of war. Upon the night before the airmen carried out their reconnaissance, the troops they were observing had been heavily attacked, and the commander-in-chief for whom they were acting was particularly anxious to know whether his enemy intended to hold its ground or was about to fall back. The aerial report, when received, threw a clear light upon this point. Mainly cavalry and rear guards had been detected during the flight. It was obvious, therefore, that the enemy was in retreat. Such results as these convinced the military experts who were studying the maneuvers that the future of the aeroplane, at any rate from the reconnoitering point of view, was practically assured. For the splendid work which he had accomplished, Lieutenant Sido received promotion, and his pilot, Adjutant Menard, was presented with the Cross of the Legion of Honor. Lieutenant Sido, explaining afterwards how he succeeded in setting out such terse and informing reports, made several interesting observations regarding the work of a military observer. At first, he said, the man who attempted aerial scouting could not distinguish things below him with sufficient clearness. He himself had found that quite a number of flights were necessary before he could make anything like satisfactory or accurate observations. But practice, he added, was everything. Granted plenty of this, and sharp eyesight, he considered that an aerial observer should make few mistakes in reporting what he saw when in an aeroplane. A military correspondent of the Times, who went through these maneuvers in Picardy, and thus had ample opportunity of studying the work of the air scouts, declared afterwards, "In my belief, the aeroplane, given a trained pilot and a skilled observer, must revolutionize the whole service of reconnaissance." No statement could be more definite. This, as has been said, was the first practical revelation of what an air scout might accomplish in time of war. France was not slow to profit by the lesson. Without delay she began to create an efficient aeroplane fleet. If feats such as those recorded in the Picardy maneuvers could be carried out with a few aeroplanes, what could not be achieved with highly organized squadrons of machines? This, in effect, was the question which France asked herself. End of second section.